In March 2023, we decided we needed to find someone to help us with this. And we found this local business. They were actually recommended to us. And they did marketing and websites and branding and that kind of thing. And we initially went to talk to them about that. And they said, we think we could do your app for you. We've done apps for other people. We think we could do yours. And at that point, we thought, you know what? Keeping it all under one umbrella could be a really good thing to do. So
really powerful,
why don't we do that? So we agreed a pretty hefty monthly retainer with them for them to do everything. And they said to us, you'll have your app by July. It's March 23. July came and they said, we've had a problem and the platform that we've been building it on, we now realise is not going to work. So we need to take what we've done and move it to a different platform. We won't lose it, but we need to do that. Okay. You'll have it by September.
Okay.
September came and the guy in the business that was working on it became unwell. He wasn't there for a bit. Anyway, long story short, the weeks and the months went by and we got to Christmas and I'm like, this is really like not good now.
Yes, this is really stressful.
And Amanda and I had reined back on our coaching clients. Now you look back and go, should I have done that? Because we were focused solely on creating the content so that as soon as the platform was ready, we'd got all the content to go, whoop,
push it all on.
And it got to the point where they said to us, right, it's all ready to go. We've now got to wait for the stores, you know, the App Store and the Google Store, to be able to authorise it. And that's out of our control. We don't know how long it's going to take. Right, okay. And
was that a fact?
Half true.
Okay.
Yeah. There can be issues, but there doesn't have to be. Okay. Anyway, we got to February and the guy that was dealing with it went off to Thailand for 6 weeks, said he was going to be working while he was there, and he disappeared. And we're kind of like talking to the owner of the business saying to her, look, this has got to stop, you know, like it's been a year and
you haven't delivered anything.
And he came back from Thailand and she told us that he had disappeared in the UK and that she had decided to close the business. Her husband had his own business and was working a lot in Washington. So she was going to close the business and move to Washington with her husband.
And everything you'd put into that and paid
and
them.
She'd got no money to give us back. So everything we'd spent had gone. And everything that he had done, they couldn't
give you
find.
what was done.
Well, she said, Matt's got it. I've got no access to it. It's like, he worked for you. How do you not have this stuff? And this was a really funny story. So through a circuitous route, we found out where he lived. He lived with his parents and young guy, really nice guy. We went and knocked on his door and his mum answered the door and was like, can we speak to Matt, please? And he came down and he was a wreck. I mean, bless his heart. He was in such a state. And we're like, Matt, we are not here to give you any trouble at all. We just want what's ours.
Yeah, just
we want what you've given us or what you have done so that we can take it and give it to someone else. We don't want you to do any more with it. We just want to take it and go. And to be fair, he gave us everything.
Okay.
But in the conversation with him, he told us that he had told the boss the previous July, I can't do this. This is far greater than I've done before. Okay. I don't have the skills and the expertise. I can't do it. And she told him, find a way.
Okay.
And he literally had a nervous breakdown over it. I mean, I felt really sorry for him.
Yeah, bless.
And she'd stopped paying him and, you know.
Oh, my word. Wow.
So,
obviously, everything, again, behind the scene got a kind of reason. But you never know.
No.
So at least you saved
some.
He gave us what he'd given, what he'd got. And we're like, right, we need to find another route. And we contacted 5 other developers. And we went out to people that just develop apps. It's like, we're not going to mess about now, we're going to do that. And every single one of them looked at it and said, not fit for purpose, can't use it. We'd have to start again.
What was done?
And the cheapest quote we got was for £60,000.
Wow.
60,000.
And we'd already lost tens of thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
And how you can't told this until then? It was
funded
just
it ourselves.
Wow.
Yeah. I can't tell you how that felt.
No, but I can clearly imagine. Wow.
And it was, we were just like...
On the floor.
What do we do now?
Yeah.
And we had to really draw on our, our skills and our learnings to get through this, because, you might remember from the talk you saw me do at ZC, we've got the 7 principles of conscious living.
Yeah.
And if we just sort of talk about 3 of them, the first thing was that we blamed them, and actually it was their fault.
Yeah.
It wasn't your fault. We might have been able to have stopped the journey earlier than we did if we'd pushed a bit harder. But
you don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
No, and every time we had a meeting with them, every week, they were showing us stuff that we're like, yep, it's moving forward, it's moving forward.
Yeah, you're feeling
you
comfortable.
Believe people, it was all nonsense. It didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But we knew that we'd got to stop blaming them, because if we kept in that place, we were never going to put it behind us and move forward.
Yeah.
And all the while we blame other people for the situations we're in, we've given our power away.
Yeah.
And we can't move forward. We stay stuck. So we're like, okay, we've got to stop blaming them. Doesn't mean what they did was okay, because it's not. But we've got to go, okay, that's in the past. Can't change it now. How do we move forward? Don't know what it is, but there has to be a way. So that was like the first thing. Second thing was the judgment we gave ourselves, because you can imagine. And we all do this, we all have our little judge that sits on our shoulder.
If only we'd have done this.
If only we'd done this. Why didn't we see this? How stupid were we? Why do blah. And it was like, okay, let's have this rant, let's get it out of our systems, and let's stop.
Yep.
Because actually, again, all the while you stay in that place, you're stuck and you can't move forward.
Yep.
And we have to just be kind to ourselves, as we would if somebody was telling us this story and say, you did what you did with what you knew at the time. You do the best with what you've got. And, we can't see why this has happened, but we will. One day we'll look back on this and go, right, okay, that was actually the right thing. It was meant to be that way. And then the other thing was one of our other 7 principles was the no limitations. Because we did sit in a place of going, well, we've got no money now. We've just used all of our savings individually to get this far. And we've got no way of moving forward. We can't afford 60 grand to go and start again. So it's gone. We've lost it. And we had to say to ourselves, okay, there's going to be another way. Or there's going to be something else, because life is like that. It leads us to the next thing.
It does, yeah.
And we've got to just be open to a solution that might come our way, So we decided to give ourselves a couple of weeks off, just tootle about. Did a lot of meditating and walking outside. Just trying to breathe again. Oh, and in the midst of all this, I'd had my hip replaced. I'd had an accident I had to have my hip replaced. And that didn't quite go according to plans. So it's still not 100% right, but I was in a lot of pain. So that, that was sort of going on as well. And then my daughter's wife, she discovered that she's got quite a bad condition with her spine, and changed her life. She's not going to be able to live. She's 31. She's not going to be able to live the life she would have wanted to have lived. She's, she's amazing. She's really. In fact, I'll tell you a little story, if I may.
Of course you may.
So she was a gym bunny. She loved going to the gym, and they told her she's not allowed to do the gym anymore. Not allowed to lift anything heavy. She's got restricted in what she can do. But they said to her, you need to do physio, and they will tell you what you can do, and they said to you, you need to cycle and you need to swim, because it will strengthen everything and it will give you that support. So she's like, okay. Didn't really like swimming. Hadn't ridden a bike since she was a kid, but was like, okay. Started swimming. And she got her bike, and she got an electric bike, and she's got a helmet on. She's cycling around the car park close to where they live in Tunbridge Wells. And she's right, I'm going out on the road. And Beck said to her, Marcy, are you frightened? She went, yes. I'm frightened, but I'm going to ride with fear until I ride without it.
Wow.
That's powerful.
Isn't that? I wrote a blog about that. I was like, oh my God, this is just amazing.
Wow, that's incredible power.
Really?
Yeah,
I was like, you are an inspiration, girl.
That is an inspiration, yeah.
And
definitely.
she's getting on with it, and at the same time, we found out that my stepdaughter's boyfriend, who is also 31, has a heart condition that he's had since he was born that's never been picked up. And it's an actual miracle that he's never dropped dead. And he's just waiting now to have open heart surgery. So that's all
going on in the background.
Going on in the background,
Yeah. So
anyway, in June, we'd been invited to go to a networking event. And we were like, what's the point? We haven't got anything to talk about. But we went. We paid for a ticket. We're going to go. So we went to this event. And the first person I saw when I walked in the door was the lovely Zoe Cairns. Love that girl. And she gave me a hug. How's it going? How's your app? Well, it's not. Told her what had happened. And she was like, oh, I can't believe it. She came up to me a bit later. She said, I can't stop thinking about what's happened to you. She said, I think there might be another way. Would you be willing to sit down with me and have a chat? I was like, yeah. So the following week, we went and met with Zoe. And she said, if you are willing to look at this in a different way and deliver it differently, I think we can do it on a third-party platform that she uses herself. And it's a community platform called School, SKWL.
Yeah.
You might be familiar with. And yes, it was different, but it meant that we could get it off the ground.
With very little cost.
With very little cost.
Yeah.
Very little cost. It's like, only we'd known about that 2 years ago.
Exactly.
Anyway, we were like, okay, let's do this. And Zoe said, right, I want to help you with this. And she's been an amazing mentor to us. She really has.
Amazing
and her team do our social media for us. And she's amazing. So we were due to speak at the Women in Business Big Show in August, and we were exhibiting, and we're like, well, we've got nothing. So he said, right, you've got 6 weeks. If you work hard enough, you could launch this at the Women in Business Big Show. And we did.
Amazing. Fantastic.
And we got it out there. And there's an element to it that we wouldn't have had. So the whole purpose of the app originally was to have a portal of information. So videos and quizzes and documents and blogs and all sorts of things.
Things that people could use.
Things that people can use on their own time. For their mindset, and helping people to see things from different perspectives. And meditations in there, all sorts of things. What School gave us was a community aspect. So every day I post an affirmation. So it's a lovely image with an affirmation on it and then a thought around that affirmation. And that gets posted every morning. And it goes into the community section where people can actually comment on it and like each other's posts and whatever, which we wouldn't have had
if you did
that element if we'd done it through the app.
Yes.
We would have still had the daily affirmations, but wouldn't have had any of the interaction. And that interaction's actually been really good for people and they've loved it. So it's kind of like, we could already say, well, this is good. We've now got something, another dimension to this that we wouldn't have had.
So it's basically giving you a starting point and then other people comment around it, which helps the whole community. Yeah, exactly. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So we're like, okay, that's good. So we're then now busy telling people about it and, getting members on board. And Zoe's team are doing the social media and networking and all of that. And then 6 weeks later, Amanda became unwell. She got labyrinthitis, which is horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible thing to get. Laid her low, and I'm like, right, Amanda. And she was trying to push through it. I was like, Amanda, please just take the time because, you need to get well and you won't if you keep pushing. So, and that was when I spoke at ZC Live because she was supposed to be there with me.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, you remember what you were saying.
Yeah. And then we got to November and Amanda said to me, right, I'm feeling better. Can we meet up? And we met up and she told me that she didn't want to carry on with the business.
Oh.
That period that she'd had off had caused her to reevaluate life.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't think this is for me.
Mm.
And I have total respect for that. We all have to do what's right for us. But it did come as a blow. I wasn't expecting it. And it was then that thing of, do I keep going? Do I give it up and walk away? And in that moment, I was like, I really don't know what to do.
But it's such a powerful tool, though, isn't it? You've prepared and put it all together.
Yeah,
and
that was the thing.
You've got through all the hard work, all the effort, everything you put into it, like, and that's just,
Yeah. But it's like, can I do this on my own from every, from the financial perspective, the business perspective, the, the support, the input, because, we both had input into the content, and it's like, is this dynamic going to change,
Because it's always nice when you've got someone else to push you along, and just like you lift up here, lift up there. It just makes all the difference.
And the thing is, we're all human beings. It doesn't matter what you've learned in life. It doesn't matter what you do. We all have bad days. We all have the imposter syndrome that comes in. We have the things that we have to deal with as part of our human journey, and we need support around us.
We do. Yeah.
And what happened was, I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do. And over the next few days, I had people step up in a way that I never could have envisaged. Zoe's like, of course you've got to keep going. You can do this. And people saying, what can I do to help you? How can I help you with this? What do you need? You can't stop. You've come this far. You can't stop. And so I decided to keep going.
Amazing. Well done.
And I don't know what the future holds with it. I really don't. The thing that where we're at the moment is that the community is there and it's slowly growing. But I had a couple of businesses approach me and say, would you enable us to offer this to our staff as a benefit? And I'm like, that's a good idea. So 2 small businesses, just with a handful of staff, have signed up to it, and their staff have come in. And it started me thinking, is there another way I could be looking at this? And then I went to, I don't know if you know, obviously Breakthrough Women, Susie Warren-Smith. So they run the mini MBA, they have been running, and they do a little mini workshop as a precursor to that. And I went on that in January. And in that conversation, like in that workshop, conversation with Susie, she's like, I think you're missing a trick here, and I think you should be focusing this on small businesses. So I've spent the last 3 months working with Susie and doing loads of research and
amazing,
and looking at whether there is a viable product here. And I think there is. And I'm now at the point where I need an investor because I can't run it from school into businesses. It's not secure and robust enough. It's fine for individuals, but it wouldn't be for businesses. So I do need to start again. So chunk of money is needed. So I'm currently, I've been working with Susie on my pitch deck and my business plan and all of those things. And I'm now out there saying, anybody who would like to invest in this, please come and talk to me.
But that's the potential. Way. If you don't say and ask.
Exactly. And I've got a couple of people that have shown an interest, and we've got meetings coming up and stuff.
Fantastic.
But the thing about it that really excites me is that I'm passionate about helping people to live their best life. I'm also passionate about small businesses and helping them to thrive. And I'm also passionate about helping coaches, because there's some horrendous statistic, and I don't know how true it is, that 85% of people that train to become a coach never do anything with it, never make a business out of it. That to me is shocking.
Because they don't know how to take that next
step. They
don't
know what to do next. And I've coached a few entrepreneurs and new coaches to go through that process.